Welcome back, Leanaholics. I'm your host, Dr. Luke. I'm going to be talking to you today about the control plan. Now, the control plan is one of the final tools that we do. We've probably already trained people on the process, but we're deep into the control phase, and it's about the control plan, hence the name of the phase here. And the whole idea is we want to sustain those gains. And what goes on to the control plan, if we remember from the classroom, I tell you to develop what I've just kind of called a 1 hour control plan. And that 1 hour control plan just means what plan do I need to put together to sustain these gains? It's only going to take me about an hour a week to monitor for maybe the next month or 2 months or whatever, to make sure that this process, this new process, doing what we said it's supposed to do. Or do we actually need to make some tweaks to this process, try some different experiments and maybe work on it? Maybe we missed the mark in some areas. But the idea, if we look at the column by column here, is what's the KPI that we're tied to here? Or what's the key metric? Are we focusing on the lead time? Are we going to be looking at a certain area of cycle time? Are we looking at the, maybe it's the error rate, whatever it is, but what's the critical measure that we need? Okay, so what's the step that's impacting that? Well, we got to take a look at if we are, talking about changing the batch size, and whoever's going to input those batch sizes in there, and it goes from 20 down to 2 or 20 to 1 piece flow. Well, who's the one that's implementing that and on what timing and stuff? So that's probably going to be the critical step to monitor. Well, what's the input to this process? What's the output for this process? We've been talking about that throughout the other videos, so you can identify your inputs and outputs. The KPI criteria is very important. What is it that we're saying is green? Just using the simple stoplight system. If we're talking about error percentages, is it less than 2% to green? Is it 3 to 7% is going to be yellow, and 8% or above is going to be red? Whatever your criteria is going to be, just identify what those are. And those are going to be tied into that key metric or that key performance indicator. And then the next few columns, you're going to see that where's that data coming from, who's going to be collecting it, and all that type of stuff, and how are we going to use it. That's simply creating a quick data collection plan. Again, we've covered that in another video. Now, the really important piece on this particular tool is that what action are we going to take, whatever corrective action. And by corrective action, when we're talking about a control plan, we're saying, are we in a state of control? Right? So think about using your control charts is a great tool that'll help us to know if we are in control. So on this control plan, saying if we're in control. Well, if we're not in control, what are we going to do about it? If we slip into that yellow, for instance, how are we going to act or react? If it goes into that red, what's the steps that we're going to be taking? And we have to write those down. And furthermore, where this usually falls apart is people may get to the point where they actually write the control plan, but they don't actually follow through. It slips into the yellow and it says, if it goes into the yellow, we're gonna do this. Well, then it gets into the yellow and they go, we'll just check it again next week and see how it's going. Still in the yellow, let's just keep checking it. It hasn't gone red yet. Stop, time out. If you actually put a corrective action in there when it's going into yellow, then you need to actually do or implement that corrective action. So the idea behind this tool here, the one that we show you, remember, is only an example. I even say there's no right way to do your control plan. There are some templates out there and you just find the one that works best for you. But the idea is making sure that you're sustaining those gains and you're acting and reacting to the state of control that your process is in. How's my process behaving? Is it doing what we said it should do? Is it sustaining? Are we sustaining those gains? We don't want to revert back to our old ways. We don't want to lose the momentum we have. So the control plan is really what ties this entire project together. This is where you're sustaining, looking forward, making sure that this new process, the way it is, if it's working and we want to keep it this way, it's solidified. Hope this helps complete your control plan. Hope to see you in the classroom.